Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from Sort of Interesting, and as you can see we've got a good old notebook collection here and a few fancy pens and all sorts of bits and pieces. But today we're going to have a look at the Midori, but not only that, we're going to be pitting it against the Flex by Filofax. So let's dive in and find out what these are all about. So firstly, for anybody who's not familiar with the Flex and the Midori, basically they're both based on a similar concept of having one main cover with slots for interchangeable notebooks. And on the Flex by Filofax, you've got basically a leather cover that's got all sorts of different pockets that you can slot notebooks in, and you've got different types and pen holders and all sorts of inserts, diaries, notebooks, and just what you'd imagine you should have really. And similarly, the Flex is based on a slightly different design, and this doesn't have any pockets on the actual cover itself, and everything is held in with rubber bands. That one is the central one that's sort of tied through the cover itself, and then everything else you can fit in around it. And well, let's have a quick look and come up with what our winner is. Or more to the point, I'll have a quick look and then tell you what my winner is. So first of all, with the Flex by Filofax, you've got a lot more cover options and a few various sizes and bits and pieces. Like I say, this that the Midori doesn't have has got various pockets that you can have your phone in, or cards, or anything that you'd like really. But once again, I wouldn't say put too much in this, because obviously if you've got notebooks in there, just like the Midori, you're not going to want it to end up being as big as a building. So, with the Flex, there's a tendency by Filofax, as you may be familiar, to have very thin, very few page notebooks, and that's summed up with this tear and share notebook, where it's just got perforated pages so you can easily tear them out nice and cleanly. But as you can see, even when it had all the pages in, it was very, very light on pages. So that's something to just think about. Whereas the other notebooks, I've got a diary and a standard line notebook here. And so basically, these, for example, would be what I normally have. As you can see, I had 3 notebooks in the Midori, which I'm currently using. And, well, if we slot these in, then you'll be able to see just what I mean about the general system setup. Well, it's pretty simple really. And obviously you can change these to whatever notebooks and bits and pieces that you want. And those are both very thick, which the Midori's, none of the notebooks are that thick, as you can see. So that instantly means if you put 2 notebooks in the Flex, then you haven't got any room to add a third notebook, both because obviously you've run out of slots to put them in, but also because, well, I don't think you want to add a third notebook of that thickness into the mix, nor would you want to particularly add any other bits and pieces, and certainly wouldn't want to try and fit a phone behind a notebook into there. But that's just a general quick look at the Flex. Whereas the Midori, because the notebooks and inserts tend to be a lot thinner, that's why I've got 3 in there. This one's what I'm using for just general notes and to-dos. This is my sort of more normal day-to-day journal that I keep various thoughts and feelings in, and just generally what's going on, not thoughts and feelings. That's an unbelievably, I don't know, soppy way to put it. And these I really do like. It's also got a rather nice, this is called the Free Diary, and basically it doesn't have any dates or anything like that inserted on it, so you can start the week whenever you want and put whatever months in whatever order, miss months out and still have them read one after the other if you want. That's what I'm using for every time I move the boat. I mark it on here, so I've got a clear record of where I've been and when. But what I love really about the Midori is it is so sort of very, I don't know, I've said it time and time again now already, but I'll say it again. It's very Indiana Jonesy, and it's got that real sort of travellers, like, ooh yeah, we're out exploring and going on real adventures, that sort of look about it. Whereas the Filofax, the Flex by Filofax rather, always seems to have a more professional general look. And I think that's enhanced again with the notebooks that have got that sort of very professional, clean, clinical look about them. Which I'm not saying is a bad point per se, but personally for me, when you put these next to each other, with them being a near identical size as well, the Midori just looks like the sort of notebook that I want to take out up and down the canal on the boat with me. And the fact that you've got things like this little metal clasp that basically is holding all of the elastic band that keeps everything in place and the bookmark attached to the cover. It just, once again, it's just a nice little touch and that more sort of outdoorsy, travelled look. And the Midori system's easy enough to add that. I'd say 3 notebooks is the maximum I'd want to put in here. And I've noticed that a company that's called Scout Books makes a lot of very nice notebooks. Check out my other videos and you'll see a lot of them. A lot of nice brightly coloured covers and stuff like that. And they're almost identical size, so those also fit perfectly into here. And I'm assuming would also fit into the Flex by Filofax just about. In fact, let's put these across purposes and see. Yes, as you can see, that pretty much sums up the similar size. And, well, that's a rather interesting idea that I haven't had until now. That if you so wished, you could have, obviously, a flex cover with other notebooks in it, just like the Midori. Although I certainly wouldn't want to try and wedge one of those in with an elastic band. So, ultimately, it comes down, obviously, to your personal taste and what you're going to want from it. I mean, I've absolutely loved using the Flex for almost a year, I'd say. But finally, I couldn't resist the Midori, and, well, this is what I'm using all the time at the minute now, and I think this is probably what I'm going to be using for a long time to come. And the more that I use it, the more the cover seems to get battered and just general sort of travelled and weary looking, and it just looks fantastic. And like I say, the fact that the notebooks are just that little bit smaller, I definitely prefer. As what I've noticed with the Flex, if we open up to the middle, it seems quite hard to get the pages to go flat. And it's something like, for example, with the diary I've noticed a lot, that it seems to really bend the pages in if you're not using it that much to really sort of break the spine. And, well, you don't really want to break the spine on everything. It's nice to have things look relatively neat and tidy. Although saying that, that's the complete opposite of what I've just said about the worn look of the Midori. But that's really what the Midori's meant for, and I just like the whole general package and the way that the cover is and the way that the band goes around from the rather interesting, just knotted at the back and goes through a hole in the leather. And, well, ultimately, the Midori's just, I just love it. It looks great. Like I say, you can see that in the few weeks I've had it, I've been doing plenty of writing and attempting some terrible, terrible drawings there. But ultimately, like I say, it's personal preference. I'd say there's a sort of similar range of inserts. Obviously, if you check out my other videos, you'll see more in-depth looks at both of these. And it's the sort of thing that I couldn't say that's better than that, because they do very similar jobs ultimately. And I certainly wouldn't want to say that one is good and one is bad, because they are both fantastic and I've really enjoyed using both of them. But ultimately, the Midori, it's just got it. I mean, like I say, just look at it. The Flex does have a lot more range of colours and sizes though, but ultimately, like I say, it's down to your personal tastes and what you're going for. But the Midori's got my backing at the minute. Check out my other videos for a load more notebooks and bits and pieces. And well, until the next time, subscribe, like the Facebook page, and I'll see you around soon. Farewell.